Are you looking for a small workspace for your workshop? In this video, I'm going to show you how to build this miniature workbench, and this guy is the perfect size for all kinds of different tools. The first thing we'll do today to build this little workbench is to cut out some 1/2-inch plywood. And we need 3 pieces that are 22.5 inches long and 16.5 inches wide. We're going to be using these 3 pieces to make the top of our workbench and 2 shelves. Nobody likes sanding, but somebody's got to do it. Alright, for this next part, let's cut up a few 1x2s. You're going to need 4 of these that are 36 inches long. Then, you'll need 8 that are 16.5 inches long. Then we'll need 8 more that are 21 inches long. Then on these 21-inch pieces, we're going to put 1 pocket hole on each side of all those. The next thing we're going to be working on is assembling the 2 sides. And to do this, we're going to take those 21-inch 1x2s and attach them to the inside edges of those 36-inch boards. And on the top and bottom boards there, just make sure they're flush with the top and bottom of those 36-inch pieces. In between that top and second 1x2, I'm going to put an 8-inch gap between these 2 boards. Then in between that bottom board and the second to bottom board, I'm going to put an 11-inch gap between those 2. Then, surprise, surprise, that second side goes together the same exact way. Now, let's attach those 16.5-inch 1x2s to the short sides of that 1/2-inch plywood. Now let's start assembling this thing by using wood glue and finishing nails. Basically what I'm doing now is I'm taking these 3 shelves I just made and I'm attaching them to the tops of those 21-inch boards on the 2 sides. Now I know how smart you guys are and you're probably thinking, well there's 3 shelves and there's 4 1x2s on each side. On that second 1x2 from the top, we're not going to attach a shelf to that one. You'll see what we're going to do there here in just a second. Now I'll just take those last 2 16.5-inch 1x2s and I'll attach them to the front and back of our workbench. And these are just going to be flush with the tops of those 21-inch boards. Then obviously the outside edges are going to be flush with the front and back. And just a reminder, I am sanding throughout this project. Hey, this is starting to look like something. Now we're going to cut up some 1/2-inch plywood for this area that's going to cover our drawer. For the 2 sides, we need 2 pieces that are 22 inches long and 10.5 inches wide. Then for the back, we need 1 that's 16.5 inches long and 10.5 inches wide. And for this one, I'm going to put 2 pocket holes on the top and 2 on the sides, that way I can attach it. For all these pieces, I broke out my new random orbital sander. I keep getting asked which one's better, one of these or a 1/4 sheet palm sander. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to make a video, and I'll post that in the description for you when I'm finished with it. Once we've cleaned those up, we'll throw that back in there first using pocket screws and wood glue. Then we'll throw those two sides in there using wood glue and finishing nails. Now let's start working on the drawer. I'm going to build this using 1/2-inch plywood as well. First, for the front and back, we need two pieces that are 13.5 inches long and 7 inches wide. Then for the bottom, we need one piece that's 13.5 inches wide and 21 inches long. Then for the left and right sides, we need two pieces that are 22 inches long and 7 inches wide. Then for the drawer face, I'm going to be using one that's 9 inches wide and 17 inches long. If you want to get fancy, you could use a 1x10 instead of this. This is just a simple workbench today, so I'm going to assemble this drawer using wood glue and finishing nails. I'm attaching the front and back in between the two sides, flush with the front and back edges. Then I'm attaching that bottom board, flush with the bottom edges of all those sides. Don't forget to take just a second to make sure this thing is square. For this next part, I'm going to be using a 22-inch Undermount drawer slide. Now for some reason, mine's missing the back mounting bracket. So to solve this problem, I'm going to cut an extra 1x2 to 15.5 inches long. You shouldn't have to do this to yours. Then I'll go ahead and mount this in my workbench. Now I'll attach my drawer face using wood glue and finishing nails. The top and bottom should overlap 1/2 inch, then just 1/4 on the left and right sides. I found this old wooden cabinet knob in my scrap bin. That ought to do nicely. Now I do want to mention that you should really use 2 Undermount drawer slides when you make something like this. If you use one like I did, your drawer can have a tendency to wobble like it is here. But drawer slides are kind of expensive, and this is just a workbench, so let me show you a quick hack. I just put a couple thin strips of 1/2-inch plywood in here to keep it from wobbling. Let's throw that drawer back in there and see how well this works. Nope, I'm not noticing any wobbling now. You know what? For fun, I think I'll router this drawer face. I did spend a little bit of time sanding this thing down and making it look halfway decent. Let's take a quick look at this thing before I put all my tools on it. Nice, this little guy is awesome. And now my miniature workbench is complete, and this thing is ready to be put to work. I bet you can think of a tool right now that would fit perfectly on top of this little guy. If you enjoyed today's build, could I get you to smash that like button for me? Also, if you enjoy all things DIY, please consider subscribing. I've got lots of other videos and lots more coming. Thanks for joining me, and keep hitting that I believe button.